Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. I want to talk today about West Ham's transfer window, taking a look back. And yes, I know it's a bit old, it's a bit boring, but been away, and I want to discuss it. I want to discuss the 4 players we signed, the outgoings, the January transfer window, and to some extent next summer's transfer window, because I think there's a domino effect from what we've just seen that's going to occur in January and the summer, good and bad. But before we get onto that, let's discuss the deals. Let's discuss the 4 players we brought in, starting with Areola. Now, at the time when we signed him, I think I'd called it something like the perfect deal by West Ham, and I stand by that. The more I think about it, the more impressed I am by West Ham's business on this particular transfer. We've got in a player, we know Lucas Fabianski is going to need replaced next summer. His contract's currently up next summer. His performances have been good, but not quite as good as they were when we initially signed him. Injuries are creeping in here and there as well, so we know that position needs sorted next summer. So what we've done, we've essentially taken Areola in on a year-long trial. We know what the fee is going to be next summer should we want to make it permanent. It's around about 12 million. I don't know what it is. The club know though. And that is important. We can have a look at him and decide yes or no, get him in on the permanent. And if all goes well, Areola is our long-term number 1 goalkeeper for the next few seasons after this one. If it doesn't work out, we send him back to PSG. And yes, we've paid big wages for him while he's been here. But we had a look. We had a trial run at him. I think it's a fantastic deal by West Ham getting Areola in, and I'm quite confident he's going to be a success as well. The plan has to be for Areola to be our number 1 by the end of the season, for Fabianski to play less games towards the end, and if he does depart West Ham next summer, it's seamless. He goes in and we get another goalkeeper in to challenge Areola for the number 1 shirt. Good business by West Ham. Now, Kurt Zouma, I think is a bit of a coup, actually. Just to interrupt my own video for 1 minute and point in the direction of our sponsors, the OneFootball app. The transfer window may be shut, but there's still plenty of news for you to keep up to date with. And on this app, it is still completely free. But instead of me telling you about it today, I'm going to show you. And tell you as well. Let's get the app loaded up anyway. Make sure you favourite your favourite teams in your country. I've got West Ham and Scotland on mine. The latest news, Jesse Lingard, the Declan Rice contract, confirming the signing of Rob Newman, that Rob Newman will be joining West Ham in September. Swipe along to the season. Confirmation that West Ham are still second in the Premier League. Then you've got the squad there, including the new signings such as Nikola Vlasic. A bit of information there on him, that just confirming he's Croatian and 23 years of age. Let's swipe along to transfers. All the latest deals, including Connor Cometry going to Peterborough United and Alexander Silva. If you go back, you can click on the competitions you favourite. You can favourite competitions as well as teams. Keep up to date with all the latest news going around the Premier League, such as Alonso being impressed with new boy Saul from Atletico Madrid at Chelsea. Not that you need to learn about that. But anyway, there you go. The OneFootball app has everything. It's the number 1 football app for the football fan. Myself and Gonzo use on every single build-up show because it gives you a notification 1 hour before kick-off with the West Ham lineup. Keep up to date with everything. Links in the description and pinned comments of this video. But enough about that. Back to talking about Kurt Zouma. I think to get Kurt Zouma in at West Ham is magnificent business for us as well. 25 million is a lot of money for West Ham, but when you compare it to the other deals, it's hard. But you look at the Ben White one for 50 million and you think, well, that's a bit of a bargain, isn't it? I still think Ben White's a good deal for Arsenal. I think Ben White probably is worth 50 million. The deal I'm looking at, perhaps, is Vestergaard to Leicester for around about 15 million. For 10 million more, we've got Kurt Zouma, someone better and someone younger. Simple as that, really. And Leicester are known for doing good business, whereas Arsenal, they've probably been known for doing poor business more than what Leicester City are. But Leicester City are seen as this example of how to conduct your transfer business. And in regards to the Zouma and Vestergaard deal, I think we've done better than them, actually. I think we've done better business in Leicester City with our centre-back area. I think Kurt Zouma is good enough to play for Chelsea. And we've got him at West Ham now. I think he's a magnificent signing for us. I think, he's possibly the only one, out of the 4 signings, he's possibly the only one that walks into the starting 11 on sort of ability. I think Kurt Zouma does just that. I think he might start against Southampton. I think he might be the only new signing that starts against Southampton. I'd expect him to be a mainstay in David Moyes' team as well going forward, that he would be possibly our number 1 centre-back. Not yet ahead of Ogbonna, but by the end of the season, like Areola, the aim has to be for Kurt Zouma to be our number 1 centre-back, because Ogbonna's contract's up at the end of the season as well. Now, I would imagine we would extend it, but you never know, do you? You just never know, because Ogbonna himself has got injury problems. But Kurt Zouma, I think, is a wonderful player. I mean, I like my stats, and for those that do, I'm not going to go into the finer details, but statistically, last season on WHOScored.com, which is a very stats-based website, Kurt Zouma was the best performing centre-back in the Premier League last season. Now, I'm aware that doesn't tell the whole story, but what it does do, it gives you an indication, right? I think stats are indicators, and when he's the number one rated player out of all the centre-backs in the Premier League, he's doing something right. He's got something about him. I'm delighted with the signing of Kurt Zouma. Now, Alex Kral. This one I'm lukewarm on itself. The player itself, that is. I've seen limited time of him. I've only seen him play for Czech Republic. Never seen him play for Spartak Moscow. Only for his country. And when I've seen him for his country, he's been average at best. Very average. He had a poor tournament at Euro 2020, but we can't really hold that against him. We cannot judge that, and that's important. Just like if he was impressive, I would say, whoa, let's just calm things down here. Because a tournament environment is completely different to a Premier League environment, and the two things are separate. They're not the same. But the reason I'm lukewarm on him is just because I don't know enough about him. That's all it is. Unlike Areola, we saw at Fulham. Unlike Kurt Zouma, we've seen week in, week out at Chelsea and Everton. I've seen limited of Alex Kral. However, the deal itself, I think, is it's risk-free to some extent. It carries a bit more risk than the Areola one, because should he play a certain amount of appearances for West Ham, then we have to buy him at the end of the season. But for that to happen, for him to play those many games, you'd like to think it's a relative success. Bear in mind that, let's just say it was 20 games, he's played 19, he's not been very good. You'd like to think West Ham and David Moyes would have a conversation that if he plays one more game, it's going to cost the club 15 million. It's probably not wise to play him anymore. And yes, it wouldn't be ideal, but by this point, it's probably the January transfer window, so we know what we've got to do. We've got to send him back and try and get someone else in, whether that's maybe Conor Coventry coming back from Peterborough United. So the deal itself, I think, is good. I'm looking forward to seeing him, though, because this is someone that West Ham have courted for quite a while. We have done our due diligence on him. There is a slight concern there for me, though, that we have done that. We have scouted him for so long, and we didn't want to buy him. It looks like it did, didn't it? We bought him on transfer. We loaned him on transfer deadline day purely because we could loan him. We didn't want to part with 15 million to sign him. We wanted to bring him in on loan, which would insinuate to me that there's concern that David Moyes isn't quite convinced by him for whatever reason, whether it's him as a character or him as a footballer. There's something holding David Moyes and West Ham back from going, yeah, that's the man we want. So this is the right thing to do, isn't it? Get him in on loan and have a look at him, and either you're correct, kick him back to Russia, or you were slightly wrong, and that he can fit in at West Ham. He is good enough to play for West Ham. Then you sign him. Happy days. So the deal itself, brilliant. Now moving on to the last one, Vlasic, Nikola Vlasic. Now I'm a bit more excited about him because I've seen a bit more of Croatia than I have of Czech Republic. Again, I have not seen Vlasic play for CSK. I don't watch Russian football. It's probably no surprise to you. I do not watch Russian football, but I've seen plenty of him for Croatia, and he definitely ticks all the boxes for the way David Moyes plays at West Ham. Can cover lots of different positions, and I'm excited about this signing. He's someone that I think excites most fans, even if you've never heard of him. When you start looking into him a little bit, whether it is stats, whether it's reviews by people that have seen him, whether you're a bit of gonzo and you like to look up the YouTube clips, whatever method you choose, I think it leads to a bit of excitement. It ticks all the boxes. He's been speaking very highly about Mikel Antonio and West Ham as well. But the player himself, the fact that he can cover 4 different positions for West Ham, I think is absolutely crucial. I think it was important we brought in a player similar to Jesse Lingard. I think we've done just that. I think Vlasic is the replacement for Jesse Lingard. I think that is exactly what we needed. He can provide goals and assists. That's something else that was important. I don't think we need a winger who can constantly cross the ball but not really contribute much in the way of goals. Likewise, I don't think we need someone that can stick the ball in the net but cannot create chances. I do think we needed someone that could do both if we were only going to sign one player. And I think we've got that in Nikola Vlasic. I'm excited to see him play as well. Really young. Him and Kurt Zouma in particular have got huge potential. I'm looking forward to that being unlocked to West Ham. Now, we gave the window a 7 out of 10 on transfer deadline day when I did the live show with Gons. I'm going to stick with a 7 out of 10 to simplify it. So it's good, but not perfect. However, should Vlasic and Zouma go on to be a huge success at West Ham, the window gets better. The window goes from a 7 to an 8 or a 9 out of 10. The reason I'm giving it a 7 is because I've got a slight concern with the lack of attacking options. I think we needed one more. All summer I've sort of been saying a striker, but if Moyes is insisting on not playing with an out-and-out striker or a traditional number 9, then fine. But I still think we needed another attacking player. Even just Jesse Lingard as well as Vlasic would have been perfect for me. But we didn't get that. And I'm a little bit worried, but it can be rectified in January. And I'm hoping that's what the plan is. And that sort of leads me on to my next point, which is just that, the January transfer window. Saïd Benrahma's got the African Nations Cup should Algeria qualify. They might already be qualified, I'm not going to lie. My knowledge on the African Nations Cup is not the best. But the expectancy is we will lose Saïd Benrahma for a period of time due to the African Nations Cup. And all of a sudden, that one body, our numbers have become a little bit light. You add in an injury as well to say Mikel Antonio, who'd have thought that? Let's just say hypothetically Antonio gets injured, suddenly we're down to Fornals, Bowen and Vlasic, Bowen and Fornals. That becomes very light, that becomes concerning. But we can rectify that in the January transfer window itself, because what the summer has done, we haven't made any domestic loans. So yes, Alphonse Areola and Areola are in a loan, but they're not from England, they're not domestic loans. So we've still got that 2 spaces available should we wish to loan in somebody, whether it is someone like Maitland-Niles from Arsenal or Jesse Lingard from Man United. We have that 2 spaces there, and I think that's important, that flexibility going into the January transfer window, because we saw last January, the January that's just passed, when we had Dawson and Benrahma on loan and we wanted to get Jesse Lingard, we had to sign one of them, didn't we? We had to sign Saïd Benrahma 6 months earlier in order to free up that allocation. We don't have that issue going into this January, and that's important. That gives Moyes complete flexibility in the window, funds permitting, of course. And this leads me on to the summer one. I'm a bit concerned, and it's a small concern, okay? The only reason I'm voicing it now, because I'm aware this video's been all positive so far, and I'm going to throw a bit of negativity in, but I think it's important to be honest, and this is my honest thought, it's my honest opinion, because it's no use me saying nothing the next summer saying, well, I thought this a year ago. Well, did you, Gio? Because you didn't say it to anyone. So I'll say it now. My concern is we're sort of robbing Peter to pay Paul a little bit, aren't we? We have done it in the past. We've done it with Saïd Benrahma. We loaned him, bought him a year later. We've done it with Souček to some extent. We loaned him, paid for him 6 months later. And we've done it again this summer. We've loaned in Alex Kral and Alphonse Areola. Now, should we buy them both next summer? Good. It means they've been a success this season. That's what we want to see. We want to see their moves become permanent. Why wouldn't we? But should that happen, it's going to cost the club around about 30 million. I don't know, maybe a bit less, right? Kral, Areola, say 12 million to 15 million each. Okay, so let's just say 25 million. It's going to cost the club 25 million to bring these 2 players in on a permanent deal. Now, like I said, it's good. My concern is next summer we've already spent 25 million before we've even done anything to the squad. And this was my concern with the Jesse Lingard thing when we got him in January, because we were going to have to sign Jesse. Well, Vlasic. We signed Vlasic for 28 million, I think, to sort of replace Jesse Lingard. And yes, he's possibly an upgrade. Certainly, he's younger, so that gives us a bit more longevity than what Jesse Lingard did. But it's cost us 28 million to keep the squad the same. Kurt Zouma's an upgrade, an additional body. Areola is as well. But next summer, it would cost us 25 million to keep the squad the same as it is this season before we've even thought about upgrading anyone. And that's my slight concern. At some point, I feel like we're going to have to cut out these sort of short-term solutions at the club. And in January, I think we're going to have to go out and get another short-term solution to cover the departure of Saïd Benrahma. Hopefully, Jesse Lingard's available and a bit cheaper, and we go and get him, because I still want to see Jesse at West Ham. I'm still not giving up hope that Jesse Lingard might return. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Oh, outgoings. Not much to say really, except I'm happy. Felipe Anderson, the only one that we really sold. Could we have got more money? Possibly, but I think the main objective was to get his wages off the books. He's on 100 grand a week. It's a lot of money for West Ham, £5 million a year. To get him out, it sort of frees up the wages that we are then paying to Kurt Zouma, for example. Yarmolenko's still at the club. Interestingly, though, the Turkish transfer window doesn't close until tomorrow. So there's still a small, and when I say small, I mean a really small chance that a Turkish club may make a move for Andrei Yarmolenko tomorrow. It's extremely unlikely because they've only got 24 hours to do it. He's expensive in terms of wages, and also he's on international duty at the minute with Ukraine, so it wouldn't be the most straightforward transfer. But Turkish clubs can still sign players, and there has been interest in the past from the likes of Fenerbahce and Galatasaray in Andrei Yarmolenko, so you never know. But he's still at the club. And at the start of the summer, if you told me Yarmolenko would still be a West Ham player, there's a part of me would be a little bit disappointed. But saying that, given that we never signed that extra attacker, I'm kind of glad he's still here, because I think we'll see a bit of him. In the Europa League in particular, I think Andrei Yarmolenko will be our striker. And I think he's capable. I am, despite what I'm saying, I am a fan of Yarmolenko. I think he's a good player. The reason I wanted him gone is because of his wages, his contract's running down, he's injury prone, and he just doesn't fit what Moyes is trying to do, really. I just don't think he's a good option for David Moyes. But in terms of ability as a footballer, I think he's a wonderful talent, and I think if his playtime is restricted to the likes of Europa League, I think he'll actually have a pretty good season for West Ham if he remains injury free. But anyway, outgoings, the main thing is we kept the likes of Declan Rice, Thomas Soucek, we kept those players. Mainly because no bids arrive for them. Makes it easy, doesn't it? It's easy to keep hold of Declan Rice and no one bids for him. But we did. We have kept all the players from last season together. We lost Jesse Lingard. We knew we were going to. We've added to it. We've upgraded it. I'm happy. Overall, I think the window was a success for West Ham. Not perfect, but a success. And should Kral and Areola work out, as well as Vlasic and Zouma, then I think it goes from a good window to an excellent window for West Ham United. Only time will tell though. Anyway, if you enjoyed my ramblings on the transfer window, do drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I shall see you tomorrow. Catch you in a bit.